Hello, friends. Welcome to the Artist Within podcast, Season 1, The Road to Resilience. I am your host, Adela Hittel, and I'm super excited to kick off the season with some education, some inspiration, and some information, and I hope that you will find this episode extremely useful, as I have with my life. As always, just a reminder, we are not medical professionals. This is a peer-to-peer advocacy group, and the podcast is only for educational and informational purposes. So if you need help, please seek out professional help, and we have some resources available for that on our website at thinking.org, PHINC-ing.org. I am really excited to talk to you this episode about something I came up with a couple years ago called the roadmap to functionality. One of the things that I didn't know how to do, I didn't understand how to do, was really how to function in my everyday life. I didn't know what it meant to get up, brush my teeth, take a shower, make my bed. I knew that those were mechanics and skills and things that were part of everyday life and part of people's everyday life, but not for me. I didn't understand them. I didn't understand how one could get up and just do those things. So it took a while. It took a long time to really get to the idea that I was missing some steps. I didn't know where I was at or what was happening. So I needed some guidance. I sought out therapy, I went to programs, I got education through books, podcasts, seminars, webinars, whatever was available to me as a free resource. I went and I did it. And I compiled a bit of information and something into a one page where I can understand it into a hierarchy of my own needs, right, for my own self, and a way that I can hold myself accountable and responsible for what I want in my life. And in order to do that, I had to set some boundaries. I had to figure out what my requirements were. I had to change the way I thought about the word expectations. I had to actually remove it from my narrative and replace it with the word requirements. Something that's become non-negotiable to me, and something that I don't compromise on now because it's required for what I want in my success. And I made a commitment to myself that I was going to succeed. And I made a contract with myself that I was going to succeed. And my success looks different than what your success looks like. Your success looks different than what someone else's does. You have to define that for yourself. So one of the ways that I did that, and I want to share that with you, for those of you who are listening, you can go onto our website and find this actual PDF, this page on our homepage, and you can download this template that'll kind of give you the walkthrough. And those who are watching on YouTube right now, you can see the walkthrough for the I lost my train of thought now for the roadmap on how you can get to the point of understanding what you want, what's required of you, but it really starts with what the need is. So let's get into sharing with you what that means, right? In this, for those of you listening, I am looking at my pledge page, or the page of our the PDF right now, or for the roadmap to functionality. I'm looking at it right now, and you can again go onto our website or go to the YouTube, on our YouTube page as well for Project Human, and find this episode uploaded pretty shortly, where you'll be able to see this and kind of walk through it yourself. So it says, I pledge to keep myself accountable and responsible for the success of my wants, requirements, and needs. So what does that mean? What does it mean to have needs, requirements, and wants? Well, one of the things I learned through my education and gathering information and therapy is that there are two types of needs. We, in this human state and existence, live in two types of needs. There is the survival need, and there is the living need. Currently, I am in my living need, which is fantastic. because I've transcended the part of my survival and have the ability now to relax a bit, find some joy and peace and stability and structure because I've moved out of my survival need. What does it mean to be in survival need? Well, survival is categorized by having to put food and a roof over your head, right? You need to have that. If you don't have that and you don't have a place to live, a place to stay, then you are in survival. You are looking for that. You don't have, personal transportation, internet, or insurance of any shape or form. To me, insurance is a luxury in this country, and it's something that most of us don't have, and if we do have, it's limited access. And again, where I'm at in my living space and need and time now, I'm fortunate that I don't have to worry about that. You don't have any support or from your family or friends. You don't have the structure of anybody around you, and you're on your own. So you're in your survival need. You're wondering when your paycheck is coming. You're wondering how you're going to put food on your table, how you're going to provide for your family or whoever's dependent on you. And that is a toll on the human body. And once you recognize where you are in your life in that, again, survival or living need. Now, if you're in your living need, you have insurance, you have a roof over your head, you are working towards the future that you want and that you need because you have that stability, and you have a home, you have a car. You have transportation, you have cell phones, you have internet, you have Netflix. That is your living need, and those are luxuries of that of our life. So categorize where you're at, living or surviving. And once you figure that out, you can go ahead and start making the steps that are required and taking the steps that are required to get to what you want in your life. And part of understanding what you want in your life is understanding what your requirements are, right? What are requirements? That's the second tier of this whole conversation. Requirements are your non-negotiables. Those are your laws that you yourself will be abiding by for your own existence. They're the standards by which you hold others and yourself accountable and responsible for your actions and reactions. They're your morals, your ethics, your boundaries, your values. They're the patterns of your behaviors and the decisions of your life that you take every single day. So you need to understand what your requirements are. For me, my requirements, now my non-negotiables, now that I'm completely confident in my narrative, well, maybe I have a little bit more work to do as everybody else does, but I really am more confident in my narrative and who I am and what I want to do and my boundaries and my values, that they're non-negotiable. And transparency, honesty, discipline, commitment, loyalty, trust, those are part of my non-negotiables in my life. And if you cannot meet those, right, or I can't provide the steps or more in-depth understanding of what's required there, then we're not going to work, because those non-negotiables have to work for me, and you have to accept them, or I have to accept yours, and we have to have this ability to coexist together in these way, because those non-negotiables are your essence, they're your soul, they are who you want to be remembered as, and they are the things and the actions you take, and those are your responsibility. So you have to be extremely understanding of what they are and define them in a very clear path, right? And not just, well, it requires me to write this down, or it requires me to do this. No, it requires discipline. It requires follow through. It requires commitment. It requires you keeping your word to yourself. So a lot of that is on your own time and place and space that you have to take. And we don't take that, right? We don't do those things. We're so focused and concerned about what someone else is doing, where they're going, what their experiences are like versus where we are, what our experiences are, what we're doing to create the experiences that we're creating in our own life and our realities, that we don't take, again, accountability and responsibility for where we're at. Oh, excuse me. So those are your requirements. Those are your non-negotiables. And then you will be able to work towards your want, right? And a lot of times I had to spend a whole year in a year of want. I remember telling my husband, I am taking this time to figure out what I want in my life. This is my year of want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what kind of food I want to eat. I don't know what kind of drinks I want to drink. I don't know what kind of experiences I want to have. I don't know what kind of textures I like or don't like. I didn't know. I didn't know what kind of sounds I liked. So it took me so long to figure out what I wanted in my life by starting with what I didn't want. And the way I was able to do that was by looking at my requirements and seeing what aligned with that. Well, I wanted more stability in my life, and I didn't want to be as uncontrollable in my emotions. I wanted to be able to control them and understand what's happening. And so that required me being honest with myself. That required me taking responsibility, accountability for where I was at in my emotional state of being. And once I learned that my emotional state of being was in survival mode, and that it was in literal fight or flight nonstop, that I couldn't process, my brain could not differentiate between the physical world and what my emotions were producing, how my, again, not a medical scientist or professional in any shape or form, but your amygdala, the part of your brain that lights up, that controls your emotion, that controls a part of you that, you're either able to process how you're feeling or not, in conjunction with the cognitive part, your frontal lobe, and your physical space, your existence. Like, all of those work together. And I didn't understand when those words would come to me. I didn't understand what they meant. I didn't understand how they applied to me, because I couldn't process that I had suffered such a traumatic part of my life. I still can't understand or connect what happened to me in my life, what happened back to myself as a child, because to me as a human being today, it didn't happen. And that's that's a dissociation that happens with complex trauma. That's the part of a being that can separate itself and kind of live here but still not understand what's happening with the body, because the body keeps the score, man. The body will tell you what is happening, and if you listen, you will understand it. So a lot of times, to get to where we want to go, what we need to do, the first part of our required state is looking and recognizing who we are and where we're at. And are we, as a living state in this space and existence, living in a survival need or in a living need? Are we, as a physical space, is it safe enough for us to be able to work on the emotion and to work on processing what's happening within us and where we're at? And if we're not, then it's going to be a lot harder for us to admit where we're at and take accountability and responsibility for the actions that we're not taking to create a better space for ourselves. And we'll find ways to blame others and to create so much more anxiety in our lives. And I say that from 100% experience. Up until, a couple years ago, and even 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't be having I knew I was on the way, but I wouldn't be having such an in-depth understanding of myself and what it means to go through a traumatic experience, what it means to be living in a state of fight or flight, what it means to be living in reality here and in America and in a place and space where the opportunities for betterment is an abundance and the resource for betterment is an abundance, but the knowledge on how to process and how to navigate that is lost or not there, or some kind of way being mistranslated to the community, to the self. And I want to be able to, and I hope that you're going to be able to gain some perspective and find some way to navigate your own space and understand that help is there. There are so many resources available to us to be able to navigate our lives, when the number one requirement is our own action, is our own commitment to ourselves, that we are going to be accountable for the actions and the reactions we have and take, and the consequences, good or bad, they're up to us. And what are we going to do to change those, change how we feel, change how we think, change how we move, because that's all part of moving forward, understanding, building resilience within yourself. And once you learn to navigate that, once you learn how to do that, I promise you, the world becomes so much easier to live within yourself. The one thing that everybody has talked to me in my own personal life and through this experience, and most people I hear, is being able to discern the voices within ourselves that are speaking in so many loud spaces and places about how terrible we are, or the self-doubt, or the sabotage. And one of the ways you get to control that is by defining what your narrative is, by looking at what your need is, defining what your requirements are, what your non-negotiable is. Like, I'm not negotiating with my boundaries. I'm not negotiating with the health of myself. I'm not negotiating with who I am as a being. I know what I want to be. I know I'm not negotiating that with you, or no. But I am processing it. I am working on it, and I am growing from it. And those ways we can now then take opportunities to better ourselves every day. So learn what your non-negotiables are. Learn what you can and cannot live without. Learn what you like or don't like. Figure out where you are in your need. And if your need is greater than the capacity of those around you to help you, then reach out for help. There's no shame. There's no guilt. I know that we have those and we feel them, and those are emotions that are part of our human existence. But one of the things that I've learned is the same receptors in our brains that create pain, create pleasure, create joy. I want to live in the constant state of joy and pleasure of this life, and gratitude in this life, no matter what the circumstance is, because the alternative is agony, and I don't want agony. I don't want negativity, and I don't want my life to, for me, when I look back on it, to be gloom and doom. I want it to be hope. I want it to be inspiring, motivating for myself, full of light and energy and love and compassion and kindness. Maybe not niceness. I'm not nice. We all know that. So as you get to know me, you'll learn. I'm not nice, but I don't have to be nice to be kind. You don't have to be nice to be kind. And that's part of my non-negotiables. I'm not nice, but I'm honest and I'm kind, and I am a human being who wants to be there for you no matter what. So, understanding your hierarchy as a human, what your need is, what your requirement is, what your want is, working on it, taking the time to work on it, analyzing yourself, processing yourself, trial and error, honestly, trial and error. You win. I promise you win. The commitment to yourself, the contract you made with yourself, that you are capable of creating the life and the success you want in this existence, is totally 100% up to you. There's no questions about that. So I encourage you with all of my might to work on yourself in a way that is designed for you to be happy and for you to find joy in this life, for you to create pathways that will allow you to succeed. Recognize the patterns of behaviors you like or don't like. Work on the things you like more. Focus on the good things in your life that you like more. Create a habit of joy and pleasure and hope versus what our society is right now in anxiety, hope, and despair, or hopelessness and despair. So, with that, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that you can understand or find a way to navigate your power. Like, you are really powerful. You are capable. And I encourage you to start today. And how can you start doing that? You can start by writing down your accomplishments of the day. I made my bed. Today I did the podcast. I made my bed, brushed my teeth. I took a shower. These are all accomplishments of the day. They require energy. They require thought. They require action, physical movement, all which take time, all which is, again, a currency of your day and your existence. So be proud of what you did today. Give yourself credit. Give yourself grace. And if it wasn't what you wanted, you have 24 hours tomorrow. You have your $24 to check off tomorrow. You're capable of doing that. You're capable of making greater decisions than what you have today. And the confidence only starts by being gained for you by doing. So go do. And while speaking of doing, I encourage you to go follow our podcast, The Artist Within, on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can also follow our YouTube channel for Project Human, Think a New Way to Think, where we'll be uploading some of these episodes via video form as well, so that we can share with you behind the scenes in some ways that we're doing some things. So a lot of new things are coming. So go like, go support, go subscribe, all the great things, go follow. And until next time, I encourage you to be compassionate and kind to yourself, and take 5 minutes today to write your accomplishments down. You're worth the investment. Pledge to yourself that you're going to be accountable for that. Until next time, my friends, so much love.